Welcome back to the kitchen. The temperature is dropping, fall is in the air. I think it might be time for some autumn baking. My sister and her husband are coming to visit in a couple of weeks, and she was asking if there's anywhere nearby where we could find some fresh apple cider donuts. Now, historically, there was an apple orchard that did some excellent apple cider donuts, but they don't do them anymore. But I thought, how hard can it be? Let's make them at home. I've never made donuts before, and so I did some research. And from what I gathered, it is difficult to make apple cider donuts that taste like apple. But I found a post on Reddit that suggested that I try a recipe from Claire Saffitz. And so we're going to do that today. As usual, the recipe will be in the description, so you don't have to write anything down now. Let's just get started. I'm going to make a leap of faith and just assume these donuts are going to be fantastic. So I'm going to make a double recipe and freeze half the batch to make while my sister's here. For a double recipe, we're going to need 7 cups of flour, 5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda from the world's largest bag, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Claire said you could also add a little bit of ground cloves if you want. That sounds pretty good to me, but she warned about adding too much, so it's just a dash. I'm going to mix these on low just to make sure all of the dry ingredients are evenly distributed. You wouldn't want to hit a pocket of any one of these things. Next, I'm going to be combining some of the wet ingredients, starting with reduced apple cider. Earlier and off camera, I boiled 4 cups of apple cider until it reduced down to just 1 cup. This should really intensify the flavor. 1 cup of apple butter, 1 cup of sour cream. I don't even like sour cream, and I hesitate to use it at all, but I'll just trust Claire on this one. Mix until combined. Now I'm going to use my largest bowl because eventually all the ingredients are going to end up here, starting with 4 large eggs. I have already used both of my 1 cup measuring cups, so next I'm going to add 2 1/2 cups or 1 full cup of white sugar and 1/2 cup light brown sugar. Mix well, of course. Next, Claire said to drizzle in some melted and cooled butter. Now, I'm not sure why we're drizzling it in, other than to prevent the eggs from cooking if we didn't cool it well enough, but we'll just trust Claire. For a single recipe, you only need 4 tablespoons of butter. Well, like I said, this is a double recipe, so 8 tablespoons for me. Next, I'm going to combine all of the ingredients into this delicious batter, starting with the dry and alternating with the wet. And of course, there's a fly in the kitchen on the day I record. Just going to scrape the sides and try to get things mixed up a little bit better. I don't want to miss one drop of this reduced apple cider because it took a while to do, and I'm sure it tastes amazing. The batter is really starting to thicken. We still have quite a bit of dry ingredient left. I wonder if I should switch to the dough hooks at this point, but I'll give the standard beaters a try. I cut out a piece of parchment paper and laid it on top of this pastry mat. Pastry mat, I don't even know why it's there. It just felt right. But I'm going to give it a light coating with some flour. And now I'm just going to plop half of this batter onto the parchment paper, and we'll try to get it spread evenly. I don't think this looks as nice as Claire's. But next thing she did was put a light coating of flour on top of the dough. So that's what we'll do here. Now she said to put a second sheet of parchment paper on top of the dough and roll it out to the desired thickness. I don't know if I really want it any thinner than this, but maybe smooth it out a little bit at least. I'm just barely rolling it across the surface. It's a very, I mean, this is batter, but it's a thick batter. And I could easily crush this if I wasn't careful. Let's take this off and have the big reveal. Hopefully it won't stick to the parchment paper. And it is very sticky actually. Very disappointing. This is not at all like Claire's. I don't know why mine is so sticky. Hers was sticky, but not like this. I think it's just getting worse. I should have used some cooking spray on the parchment paper, I think. And I don't know how I'm going to cut this. It just doesn't seem like dough that you could cut. Yeah, this isn't, this is not going well. I don't know, the dough is way too thin. The next step is to slide this onto a baking sheet and put it in the refrigerator or freezer for a few minutes. And that's going to be, if I need to really stiffen this dough if I'm going to be able to cut it. Although she did say to brush off the excess flour, but I fear if I do that, it will just make things worse. So let's just call this one a learning batch and get this in the refrigerator. Maybe we can dust off the extra flour later. All right, this is the real batch. So let's just forget that first one ever happened and dust this parchment paper with flour. Time for some plopping. I think Claire's was like 3/4 of an inch thick. Maybe she wasn't plopping as fine of plops as I am. That could be the problem. I don't think that rolling is necessary with the way I'm doing it here, or even advisable. Next, I'm going to add about 2 inches of vegetable oil to this cast iron pot and hopefully heat it up between 325 and 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't decide to make donuts until yesterday. I don't have a donut cutter and I couldn't find one at the store today. So I went to the hardware store and I said, "Do you have anything cylindrical?" And they said, "Well, we have PVC pipe." Yes, that's brilliant. So I got this and it can make 2 sizes of donuts. Perfect. And I also got the appropriate large or small donut hole maker. I think this will work well. I just pulled the first batch of dough out of the refrigerator. It was cooling while the oil was heating. The oil is ready now, so I'm going to try to get this flour off as best as I can. It seems, well, I'm getting flour all over myself, but hey, that's part of the experience, right? And now I'm going to take my donut cutter, the PVC pipe, and coat it well with the flour and cut my first donut here. And we'll do it again. Try to get as many as I can out of this. Though, it doesn't look like it's going to be that many. There might be more donut holes than donuts. Donut holes are good too. Yeah, I think that's about as good as I can do. All right, now I'm going to transfer these cut donuts onto smaller pieces of parchment paper. This is just not going to work, I can tell. All right, maybe we need a plan B. Maybe I should just go ahead and make donut holes out of this batch. This dough is really sticky. And I don't know what went wrong. I thought I did everything right, but we'll just make donut holes. I can live with that. So sticky. What happens if you make a donut without a hole? Well, this is really, oh, I should probably flour my hands if I'm going to do this. All right, I'll just try to make a regular donut. We'll see what happens. All right, now, not working, not at all. We'd like to have at least one donut, but this is just so sticky. Ooh, let's just throw it in there. I hope it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. It may very well. Hey, it floated. All right. I'm encouraged by this. I'll continue to make some donut balls here. Oh, this is cooking. It's supposed to cook for 2 minutes on each side, which of course I haven't timed anything. There was an unexpected and delightful success, but also I wasn't prepared. So We'll see what happens. All right, that worked better. Claire, I am sorry. We might get some donuts out of this. But she also said, do this part quickly before the dough warms up. And here I am getting myself distracted. All right, this is good. While these are warm, I'm going to dip them into cinnamon and sugar mixed together. Now she said to put this in the cinnamon and sugar while the donut is still warm so that the oil grabs onto the topping, or I don't know, something like that. And of course I'm not getting the donuts cut out quickly like she said to do, but I was so excited. Okay, so let's see if I can get this one out now. Well, not great, but we'll... If they taste good, who cares what shape they're in, right? I need like a tiny spatula to get the hole. Oh, I guess that worked. Get the holes out. All right. And let's get this thing floured up. Maybe maybe I'll have some surprise successes here. Certainly are not pretty, that's for sure. And I've lost my hole here. Now let's get this thing flipped over. It actually looks pretty good. Although it looks like it broke apart, maybe. I think it did, but... Okay, let's get this one out. And then flip the other one. And this one's kind of a freak. Next one isn't any better. It almost seems like I should have used more flour on the parchment paper. Get this one in the sugar and get this one out and flip this one. I can. All right, let's get this one in the sugar. Well, this one actually looks pretty decent. Not my most successful moment here, but still could be a delicious moment. So I'm not in despair yet. But before I make the second batch, I'm definitely going to try one of these to see if it's worth continuing. I need more flour on this thing. All right, let's get this in the sugar. I put the other dough in the freezer, and Maybe that'll make it easier to cut. Well, I might have better success. I was going to save that batch when my sister got here, but I think I need to practice a bit more before I'm ready for prime time. And we've got all these donut holes to make yet. Maybe I'll go ahead and get started on those. Ooh, it's hot. Things not to do. These donut holes are huge. Get these in sugar. I might just go with the donut holes here. It's easier. Go to Claire's video if you want to learn how to make these, and watch mine if you want to see what not to do. I guess there's a reason why she has over 1 million subscribers. It is easier to put the cinnamon and sugar on when they're this small. Yeah, I think I do prefer to work with the donut holes. I wonder if our local place stopped making them because people burn their mouths on the fresh donuts. I could see that happening, and how you wouldn't want to deal with that. They were so good. I made a ton of cinnamon sugar, and I thought I would have a lot left over, but now I'm not so sure. Certainly I'll need to make a second batch for the second batch of donuts. I'm so anxious to try one. Okay, the first batch is done, and I have to try one of these donut holes. This one looks good. It's a little doughy. I don't think I cooked it long enough. It's almost like it has a filling inside. Maybe I'll try one of those holes that looked overly done and see if that's better. This isn't bad, but it's just not done. So this one should be one of those dark ones. It does seem to be done. Though it is very moist. It's like a cake. To be honest, I'm not that impressed, but I'm not sure that it's the recipe. With the amount of trouble I had with these things, it's probably something I did wrong. Not every recipe stands up to doubling, and maybe this is one of them. But maybe the donut holes are too big, actually. This is obviously the one that you sacrifice because it's not a presentation donut. It's definitely moist. Yeah, it's like it's not even done. I mean, see if you can see this. Yeah, it's there's definitely a tunnel of batter in here. Maybe I should actually time them. And to be honest, I don't really taste the apple after all that. Oh, I am going to cook the next batch, but I'm not excited about it. Okay, this video has been a bit of a challenge because 2 of my cameras, the batteries ran out, and I didn't notice until I was done with everything. And so I had enough. This is the second batch of donuts. I finished it off camera. I had a much better experience with the second batch, so I didn't want to leave this out. I had the dough in the freezer for probably about an hour while I was working on the first batch, and that made all of the difference in the world. It was not frozen solid, but it was much stiffer, and I was able to easily cut the donut shapes out, and I had no problem removing the excess dough and transferring the circles to the tiny squares of parchment paper. That went great. And then I was able to take the hole cutter, pull the holes out of the donuts. Also worked great. While I was letting the oil warm up, the dough did warm up and probably warmed up a little bit too much. But now that the dough had warmed up, it was sticking to the parchment paper. Nothing I could do about it. Didn't want to risk removing the dough from the parchment paper, so I thought, hey, why not just throw the whole thing in the deep fryer? And that worked great. The paper separated from the donut and everything worked perfectly after that. Now this time I did set the timer for 2 minutes per side, and that was the magic to getting rid of my raw dough in the middle. I should have done that in the beginning. Claire told me to do that. I didn't do it. That was completely my fault. Once I did that, everything was great. And then I had so many holes to make. I don't know how you can get around that. You're going to get far more holes than donuts using this method. Maybe that's fine. Everybody likes donut holes, right? However, I cannot taste the apple, not even a little bit. No, even though I used apple butter and even though I used reduced apple cider, I can't taste apple. It's a spiced donut. Maybe there's no getting around that. Are they good? They're good enough. Am I going to make these special when my sister gets here? If she really wants them, I'll do them, but I think we should probably try to find an orchard that still makes them hot and fresh. I don't think these are going to scratch that itch. And now I've got a double batch of donuts. There's only 3 of us that are living in this house right now. I work from home. I might have to send these into work with my wife. I think that's what I'll do, because we can't eat all these before they'll go bad. So that's the donut experiment. You know, I might have to make donuts again, not necessarily these donuts, but just some donuts, just because I think that PVC pipe is ingenious. I think that was a fantastic idea, and it worked really well. Too bad it didn't work well on camera, but you'll have to take my word for it. If you're looking for a donut hole mechanism, PVC is the way to go. So that was the apple cider donut experiment. I hope you at least got some entertainment value. If Claire wants to make some apple cider donuts for me, I would love to try them. I cannot recommend them though. It's not because they're bad, just because they are a disappointment. I love to try new things. I got to try cooking donuts for the first time. I got to try this recipe for the first time, and I got to make a video, and that was a good day. So from all of us here, thanks for stopping by.